Hello, I'm Gauri. Welcome to my channel.
Arti-culate with Gauri Kamboj. We all have old photographs lying around. We can make wonderful projects and gifts with them. With the use of some scrapbooking techniques and enhancements, old photographs can be arranged to give quite the interesting piece to one's living room. These projects could be cheerful, bright, with the use of bright colors, or more somber like the nostalgic piece that I plan to create today. Here is a photograph of an 80-year-old photograph which I am enhancing using my iPad. It is best to use digital images of old photographs so that they can be printed out for a mixed media project without harming the original photograph. Today's project, which is going to use only digital version of the photograph printed out on ordinary paper. You may or may not want to enhance the digital version of your photograph. You could use it just as it is. I'm also going to use a small ready-made canvas, some acrylic color and texture white. I have applied texture to most of the canvas, leaving only some section in the center untextured. Once the texture is dry, I'm going to use different versions of the same photograph to create a more nostalgic and somber mood. But we can also use a combination of different photographs if one does not want to tinker with the same photograph. What I enjoy the most about mixed media projects is that one gets to use old gift wrapping paper, scraps of old lace, or interesting fabrics that one has collected over the years. The general idea is to create mood, texture, and color combinations to enhance the photographs. So these are not merely photo collages, but they go beyond and become mixed media art. The Mod Podge creates a glossy skin on the photographs and will not let them tear. This way I plan to work on all the different variations of the photograph, adding a few highlights here and there, sometimes adding markings, lines and patterns to create the nostalgic theme of the artwork. This way I work my through the negative version of the photograph, enhancing a few lines here and there, adding some dark markings to the edges of the photograph with bubble wrap, and then brushing in some dull reds and greys before finally hand tearing each of the photographs to place them on the canvas. Of course, each photograph has to be covered with Mod Podge so that it remains sturdy and waterproof. Hand tearing the photograph print to get rough edges which will merge easily into the back. Once I finish working on all the different versions of the photograph, I will place them carefully on the canvas. I move around the prints to my satisfaction. For the effect that I want to create, hand tearing each of the photographs is essential. I do not want any defined edges or lines. This old photograph has always fascinated me. When I worked on it, I saw all the minor details. I looked at my grandmother's nose pin, her pearls, her bangles, and I looked at my grandfather's tie. I wondered if he asked her to choose it for him before the sitting. I also noticed that she is wearing soft velvet shoes, and the composition of the photograph itself is perfect with only their knees touching, giving a sense of both intimacy and formality. In those days, taking a photograph was an important task, an event. It was a family record, usually taken in a studio by professional photographers. Fevicol is an extremely effective way of fixing paper onto the canvas, and then brush on more Fevicol to fix the edges properly. As the piece progresses, I feel that I need a little more texture with the help of scrunched up tissue paper and Fevicol, which I place between the photographs. And then when everything is dry, I start working in some of the color elements. Begin with a bright blue turquoise acrylic color and then move on to the next element that I want to add to the art piece. Jelly printing has become extremely popular with mixed media artists. Since I don't have one, I'm just substituting the jelly plate for an ordinary plastic sheet and creating certain interesting color combinations on old newspaper. The colors I use here are bright magenta pink, ochre, and green. Brush them roughly onto the plastic sheet and then take prints. Of course, they are not as effective as it would be if I had used an actual jelly plate. Still not so bad, I guess. And then after that, I have a stencil that is homemade as well to create an interesting dark pattern. The newspaper that I used is deliberately an old Marathi newspaper. I feel that it best suits the subject of my art piece, which is the old photograph of my grandparents, taken about 80 years back in the heart of Pune, a formal studio portrait, which was the fashion of the day. The textured newspaper pieces are used as a background to highlight the photographs. I like the color variations that have appeared on the old newspaper, so I'm going to let it dry and then go in and color my canvas with the dominant colors of the piece: raw sienna, brown, ochre, and burnt umber. To the edges of the canvas, I am adding darker colors to highlight the grungy effect that I want to create. I do the same between the edges of the prints. I add some more blue highlights and then use a stencil once more. With me at least, the creative process can never be completely planned. I improvise as I go along to create the best possible effect. I feel the need for oval cameos at the top end of the canvas and take another print, fixing these again with the use of Fevicol and Podge. Only the details remain. So I add further highlights with Naples yellow and underscore everything with black. Each one of us artists have creative control over their own piece and can make many variations of mixed media art with old photographs. Thank you for staying with me for the entire process, and do not forget to press the like button. Bye for now, and thanks for watching.